कहाँ पे उन्होंने नहीं दिया है, बट जो दिया है उसको क्वेश्चन मत करो कि भाई ये सब क्या कर दिया, एक्स्ट्रा डिडक्शन ही दे रहे हैं. Out of that 33,40,000, in our case study he was a 1/3 partner, so his share is 11,13,333. His capital in the books was 40 lakhs. So 40 plus this 1/3 of 33,40,000 comes to 51,13,333. This is D in our formula for 45/4. Step number 1, we calculated gain in the hands of firm under 9B and business income. Step number 2, after tax amount to be calculated and added to his capital account for the purpose of 45/4 calculation, formula number D. Now we move to step number 3. And here first of all एक पानीपत का युद्ध होगा. 45/4 said what? There is a partner, there is a firm, there is a reconstitution, admission, retirement, death or change in PSR. In our example there is a retirement, so there is a reconstitution. Third and most important, the partner receives either money or capital asset. In the case study we have decided we will give him 1 crore 5 lakhs rupees. How will we give him? We said we will give him land, market value 37.5 lakhs. We will give him stock, market value 5 lakhs, 42.5 lakhs. And I think we gave him some cash money also 25 lakhs. And we said balance amount which will be credited to his loan account, which will be given in future. So money given to him, part of B. Land given to him, part of C. B plus C in the formula. What about the other two things? Stock in trade given to him. Is it money? Is it capital asset? If answer is no, it is neither part of B nor part of C. Fourth thing given to him, balance transferred to his loan account to be disbursed in future. Is it receipt of capital asset by the partner? Is it receipt of money by the partner? According to department, everything will happen. They will say it is receipt of even capital asset. They may say it is a constructive receipt. And of course, many groups have debated on this and said that it's a constructive receipt, loan में जो transfer किया, it is also money. To my limited understanding, money is different from money's worth. And there are two words important in 45/4. Number 1, receive. Number 2, receiving what? Money. But the legislature did not stop it here. It said receipt of money or capital asset. If I say that transfer to loan account is a constructive receipt, I would say transfer of land is also a constructive receipt. They would not have added receipt of money or capital asset. They would have said receipt of money, or they could have simply said received. In 2006, when there was a U-turn in the taxability of gift, 2005, and first time they introduced that you receive anything without consideration, that is gift, it will be taxed. The wording used was any sum of money. 25,000 से ज़्यादा हो गया. And then we have a series of amendments. They visualize ये क्या पैसा ही तो, then people will give gold. ये money नहीं देना है. And you said money. So legislature that money's worth is different. And therefore, so many amendments, immovable property, movable property, definition of property. Conscious of all those things, the legislature has used two terminologies, money or capital asset. I would take a view, transfer to loan of account is none of the two. Of course, you may say that will either lead to deferment of taxation or lead to a situation of no taxable. उस पैसे का क्या होगा? I have a counter question. What about the stock in trade? You are saying transfer to loan account वो escape हो जाएगा. What about the transfer of stock in trade? It is neither money, it is nor capital asset. Or do we go to the extent of saying partner को कुछ भी दिया, सब कुछ लेना body by 4 में. So the amount determined कितना देना? 1 crore 5 lakhs. Irrespective of the mode of settlement, you take in the formula B plus C is 1 crore 5 lakhs. Then why did the legislature specifically use two terms? Money, capital asset. At the same time they had introduced 9B. 9B they constantly used stock in trade. So they were mindful. Stock in trade is not capital asset. But if stock in trade is transferred, there will be implication under business income and therefore 9B takes care of it. But that same stock in trade not included in 45(4). So if transfer into loan account either defers or escapes a tax, discharging that partner's liability by giving stock in trade, forget about deferment. It is straight away reducing the tax liability. That entire 1 crore 5 lakhs stock in trade में दे दिया, 45(4) doesn't apply. Suppose that stock in trade was acquired by the firm for 1 crore rupees. In the same example, बाकी सब भूल जाओ. 1 crore का stock in trade है, liability determined to the partner is 1 crore 5 lakhs. They said ये stock in trade दे देते हैं, he also agrees for that value. Market value is 1 crore 5 lakhs. So he is enriched by 5 lakhs. 1 crore का 1 crore 5 lakhs मिल रहा है. But B plus C minus D will not take care of it because B plus C में stock in trade is not there. Firm would be taxed. कि फर्म का 1 करोड़ है कैपिटल एंड आज जो स्टॉक इन ट्रेड दे रहे 1 करोड़ 5 लाख 90 फर्म टैक्स देगी. बट आई ऑलरेडी अटेम्प्टेड टू एक्सप्लेन चार्जेबिलिटी अंडर 9B is for firms enrichment, chargeability under 40(4) is for the partners enrichment. The partners getting enriched, and in the original example 100 crores Mahindra Wise Capital 300 crores. If the entire 300 crore given by way of some stock in trade, still he is getting enriched. 40(4) doesn't take care of it. If 40(4) doesn't take care of stock in trade, why should it take care of something which was not hardcore money? Then the second word received is constructive receipt. Always a receipt. 40(4) is a deeming fiction. I would say its strict interpretation is required. And anyways, there are situations which are not taken care of in 40(4), and therefore if stock in trade is not covered by 40(4), even transfer to loan account will not be covered by 40(4). Then what was given to him? B plus C minus D. Value of money 25 lakhs, value of capital asset 37.5 lakhs. That is the land. Stock in trade is neither money nor capital asset. Balance liability to loan account, neither receipt of money nor capital asset. So B plus C is only 37.5 plus 25. Balance in capital account that we already as per step 2, 40 plus 1/3 share in that gain. So 51 lakh 33,000. So answer is this much. This 11 lakh 36,000 etc. This is a capital gain chargeable under 45(4). Of course, with the view that transfer to loan account, if you take the view that transfer to loan account, then the component B would have to be suitably included, but certainly stock in trade might not be included in this formula. Then step number 4, ये जो 11,36,000 इसका फ्यूचर में क्या होने वाला है? And in situation number 1, we have determined this 1 crore 5 lakh based on revaluation of various assets. 48(3) says in future you will get an attribution of that, and that attribution will be as per the manner prescribed, and that was rule 8AB. This is the wording of 48(3). This is a formula given under rule 8AB. It covers 3 situations. Number 1, gain relates to revaluation of any capital asset or valuation of self-generated asset or goodwill of specified entity. Second situation, capital gain relates to capital asset received by the partner from the specified entity, and third one, it doesn't relate to any of the above. So if you see the second one first, the middle one, capital gain relates only to capital asset received by the partner from the specified entity. It is visualizing the situation which was there in the original example. 100 का 300 crore के लिए we are giving only land to him. So to settle 300 crores, what you give is that particular asset. It says no attribution because ये asset तो आज ही दे दिया. Logical or illogical? Rule 8AB says no attribution in this scenario. In our case, there is a mixture. We are giving a land, so capital gain relates to that land. We are giving money also, and there are other assets also which are revalued. So first one, revaluation of capital asset or valuation of self-generated asset or goodwill. Then there is a formula. Whatever you have calculated under 45(4) multiplied by each asset जिसके लिए attribution करना है divided by aggregate of the increase. The wording is very much flawed. In the numerator, it is only those assets which is for which attribution is there, but the denominator doesn't say assets for which attribution is allowed. For example, 48(3) comes into picture only for future sale of capital asset. It doesn't take care of future sale of stock in trade. So for stock in trade, there is no attribution. However, denominator says value of all the increase is a table that will be absurd. It might have to be read down. The numerator and denominator should go in tandem. And taking that view, I have done some calculation in this table. Land book value was 50. Market value is land book value 5 lakhs. Why are we taking 5 lakhs? Because balance land you already given to the partner. And specifically that rule says that in the second row, the asset which you give to the partner, no attribution for that. Only the asset which remain, attribution for that. So remaining land book value is 5, increase is 12.5. Similarly, plant and machinery, office building, equity shares, goodwill. There was increase in the value of stock in trade also, but no attribution for stock in trade, so not included in this table. Then there is a proportionate, total increase is 1 crore 60 lakh. So in that ratio, the amount in the right hand side, whenever this balance land is sold, this 53,281 will be added to the cost of that land. Whenever the plant and machinery and office building is sold, for the purpose of section 50 calculation of capital gain, the 71,002 crore 13 lakh will have to be added. Whenever equity share, these are also the balance equity share, that 88,000 will have to be added. Goodwill was not there in the books, but at the time of determining 1 crore 5 lakh, it was valued at 1 crore. Whenever it will be sold in future, normally we take self-generated goodwill cost of acquisition is nil, but because here there is a chargeability under 45(4), the amount attributed 7 crore 10 lakh will be considered as cost of goodwill. And there is a caveat that though in case of depreciable asset, plant and machinery and office building, they are doing some attribution. This attribution is only at the time of calculation of capital gain and not at the time of calculating depreciation every year. So next year you cannot add these two figures, the plant and machinery and office building in the block. Now the question arises, the character of this game of 11,36,000. Here the rule 8A says that you find out it is linked to the attribution. So the part of it which is attributed to short-term capital asset or depreciable asset or self-generated goodwill will be considered as short-term. In our example, plant and machinery depreciable, office building depreciable, goodwill. So 71,042, 2,13,000 this figure, the 7,10,000 would be considered as short-term. Life would have been very simple if they would have said balance capital gain would be long-term. But they said no. They said the capital gain which is attributable to long-term asset and only will be considered as long-term. Now there is a capital gain which is attributable also to stock in trade. There is a capital gain which is attributable in fact also to the receipt of money. But they say we will see whatever the remaining assets. Remaining assets may say plant and machinery, office building, depreciable asset or short-term asset, that will be short-term. And if it is attributable to other assets which are long-term, only that much portion would be long-term. In this case, of course, this simple situation would pose a little difficulty. So this 53,281 and 88,802 would be considered as long term. What is the origin of this rule 8A5? Period of holding. Original question which I raised was period of holding आप किसका ढूंढ रहे हो? You are taxing the enrichment of the partner, but you are finding out period of holding depending upon the remaining assets. Now 242A, which says period of holding of capital asset, it has a second subclause which says that for in case of any other capital asset, because clause 1 of 242A lists situation, इस situation में period of holding asset ढूंढना है. Second situation says it shall be determined subject to rules which the board may make in this behalf. Is the origin this? If not, this rule itself is ultra virus, because there is no provision in the act which gives a power to enact such kind of rule. This is just a calculation कि how much amount has been transferred to his loan account. 25, 37.95 money, land and stock in trade. So balance transfer to his loan account is 37.5. He already has a loan account of 30 lakhs. So now his loan becomes 67.5. In the second year we have paid 50 lakhs. Now why disclosure? This situation will arise only if you agree to my view that transfer to loan account is not receipt of money. Because if you add the transfer to loan account, in the money part B plus C it is already taken care of. But if you say strictly speaking the transfer to loan is not money, then situation will arise कि जो 37.5 lakhs रह गया है next year, so out of 67.5 lakh you have paid 50 lakh. Even if you apply a FIFO basis and you say जो 50 lakhs rupees उसको pay किया है, there was already an existing loan in the balance sheet, 30 lakhs वो pay किया, then that extra 20 lakh is out of this 37.5 lakhs. Will it be taxed in the second year? My view again would be that it cannot be taxed. Because number one, receiver is now no longer a specified person. 9B said he should be a partner in the next year, the retiring partner is not a partner. Secondly, the computation mechanism fails. If you say it has to be applied in the second year, and you say now आपको पैसा मिल गया है तो it has become money. But B plus C minus D, where is D? Do I take the same D? It is absurd. Again, do I say D तो आपने already minus कर ली है, but आप उसको क्यों ले रहे हो? If you compare this with capital gain on compulsory acquisition, there is an original compensation, there is an enhanced compensation. Law specifically provides that at the time of enhanced compensation, cost will be taken as nil. These sections and rules do not provide any such situation, and being a deeming fiction, it should be strictly construed. So transfer to loan account not taxable in this year because it is neither money nor capital asset, nor taxable in the next year for various reasons. I am not suggesting anything else. Last 3 minutes, situation 2. Forget about any revaluation. A lump sum amount given to the partner, his capital is 40 lakhs, उसको हमने amount दे दिया 2 crore rupees. Will 9B apply? We had our step number 1 कि सबसे पहले 9B देखना है. 9B says transfer of stock in trade or capital asset. It is not the case. 9B doesn't apply. Step number 1 doesn't apply. Step number 2 automatically doesn't apply. What remains is step number 3. Very simple. B plus C. B is 2 crore. D is 40 lakhs. So capital gain is 1 crore 60 lakh. Very simple calculation of 1 crore 60 lakh, but an impossible answer. What is the character of this 1 crore 60 lakh? What kind of gain is it? Because attribution itself fails. Why it fails? Rule 8AB, just 2 slides back. If you see this formula, it says attribution allowed only if capital gain relates to revaluation of capital asset or valuation of self-generated asset or goodwill. And there is a further additional condition which is not there in this section but put up in the rules that if you want an attribution, you need to obtain a registered valuer's report. Then only you will get an attribution. Now we have found out a random figure of 2 crore rupees. We have not done any revaluation, no valuation report obtained. All the conditions of rule 8A violated. If the conditions violated, you do not fall in number 1. I don't know where you will fall. You have calculated 1 crore 60 lakh. But the character of that 1 crore 60 lakh. Attribution under 48, no attribution. Sub rule 3, where the aggregate of value of money and the fair market value of capital asset received by specified person in excess of balance in capital account does not relate to revaluation of any capital asset or valuation of self-generated asset or self-generated goodwill. The amount charged to tax shall not be attributed to any capital asset. So attribution fails. The moment attribution fails, the characterization of the capital gain rule 8A, first part says if the amount or part of it is attributed to capital asset which is short-term capital asset, or it is attributed to capital asset which is block of asset, or it is attributed to self-generated asset, then that part of the capital gain would be short-term capital gain which we have seen in the first situation, attributed to plant and machinery, office building and goodwill. Second part would have been simple if they would simply said the remaining capital gain long term, but they said amount or part of it shall be deemed to be from transfer of long term if it is attributed to capital asset which is not covered by clause 1. In our scenario, it is not covered by clause 1, but if it is not attributed to any capital asset, it doesn't fall under number 2. So it is not a short term capital gain, it is not a long term capital gain, but it is a capital gain. 48, read with rule 8A, doesn't visualize a scenario where capital gain arises not attributable to a specific capital asset. So the computation partly fails. You arrive at a figure, but you can't describe that figure, what that figure is. Whether it is short term, whether it is long term. And if you cannot describe what that figure is, there are so many other implications. What should be the tax rate, setup of losses, exemptions, etc., etc., etc. Last question. If the attribution fails, do we say chargeability itself fails? Attribution may fail for various other reasons also. We have restricted to our case study. But if the attribution fails, one view would be that chargeability doesn't fail because attribution in any case is only for the purpose of giving you a deduction in the future. It has nothing to do with the taxability in this current year. So future में deduction मिले या नहीं मिले doesn't decide your character of your gain. However, if the attribution fails, problem is whether it is short term or long term, rule 8A fails. And if the rule 8A fails, though you are able to get an answer like in this case 1 crore 60 lakh, you are not able to characterize whether it is a short term or long term. To that extent an argument may be raised, and therefore even the computation fails, and therefore BC Srinivasa Shetty. I once again thanks all my team members and this august audience for giving me this hearing. Thank you very much. And for whatever speed up I am doing and whatever flaws might be there in the calculation, Micham. Thank you very much.